Hi everyone, it's Naomi from Morgan and Wells and Yuet from Butterfly Moon by Yuet. We're both Etsy sellers and we are taking part in the Etsy Made Local Fair on the 1st and 2nd of August, which is one of the new projects running through Etsy York, and we're very excited. Hi Yuet, how are you?
Hi Naomi, I'm good, thank you.
Are you wearing some of your beautiful earrings?
Yes, I am. These are the poppy earrings, which you can find on my Etsy.
Oh, they're
Mm.
beautiful. How long did
Yeah.
they take to make?
This one, I think it took me half a day
Oh
because
my
they
God.
are really tiny little sea beads. Can you see?
Wow,
So
they're
it's very
gorgeous.
intricate with a really fine needle. And yeah.
Well, we're going to do some questions. So we're going to throw questions at each other.
Mhm.
We'll find out later on how you make them actually.
Okay.
That would be really exciting. So we'll kick off. So how did you start your Etsy shop, Yuet?
I started off, it was last year, but I didn't really tend to it too much until this year during lockdown where I actually really focus on it. So yeah, so I loaded up a lot of listings and done a lot of homework on how to tag everything, and so yeah, so it sort of started from there. So I've got a little bit of help with my daughters, and so I started getting sales from there as well. Yeah.
Wow, how long have you been making then?
Um, on and off for maybe over 6, 7 years, but
Wow.
I've not been brave enough to actually put it online. So, yeah. So now that I've done it, I'm able to. I feel quite rewarding that I've achieved getting my products online. So,
It looks great.
yeah.
And have you been busy over lockdown as well?
It's okay. Yeah, yeah. It was all right. So it kept me out of trouble.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
yeah. So, shall I ask you your question next?
Yeah, go on, fire away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into leather work?
So I used to teach children to cycle, and I got made redundant. And whilst I was on, well, I was on maternity actually, and got made redundant.
Yeah.
And while I was sitting around doing nothing with a little baby, I really wanted to retrain, ready for after maternity leave, and saw a course on leatherwork, and I thought, ooh, that might be something I'm quite interested in. Um, Done a little bit of work before with my brother, and we did some laser cutting of wallets. But I really wanted to go back to the roots of leatherwork and learn how to use the traditional tools and do the traditional techniques, which is why I went to the course and then not looked back since. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, it's been quite an adventure.
So,
Um,
how long? Sorry.
it's about 5, 6 years ago now, so I started that.
Yeah.
Um, and we've yeah, I've done all sorts since then. Lots of very random orders, and got a little bit of work for the West End last year in the theatre. So did
Oh,
some
wow.
making for Joseph at the London Palladium, which was brilliant. So
The
yeah, you get to do
hmm.
all sorts.
So, what was the material that was in the West End show?
So it was for the Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So I
Yeah.
made all of the leather belts and then the leather cuffs that they wear. Obviously, it's quite biblical, so everything was browns and greys and studded, and you have to make everything look old
Yeah.
and stressed. Whereas when I'm making new products, you have to
Hmm.
make them look neat, tidy, and shiny.
Yeah.
So that was quite an interesting thing to get your head around in the end. But yeah, so went down to the opening night. It was quite exciting.
Oh, wow. That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, if
so yeah,
anybody wants to see those products and the shows, they are able to find that on your Instagram. What?
yes, it's all on my
Yeah.
Instagram, Morgan and Wells, and it's probably on my Facebook as well, to
On
be
your face.
honest.
Oh, that's
um, but yeah, so and then hopefully that's coming back next summer as well. So
mm,
get some a second use, which would be brilliant.
yeah.
So I'm fascinated at how detailed your work is and how you manage to move your fingers in a really fine way. What techniques do you use to make your jewellery, and do you have any special tools that you need?
Yeah, I actually use a really fine needle. It's like between a size 10 and a size 12. And what I use, it's called Fireline. It's for fishing. It's the thread
Wow,
that I use to weave all my jewelry, only with the really tiny little sea beads like these ones here.
wow.
So some of the needles has to go through the actual beads several times. So the needle is so fine, so they're able to. It's also very strong, and yeah. So the file line that I use goes 6 pounds in weight.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And then I also used a lot of pliers, like the round nose pliers and flat nose pliers um, to bend and to shape some of the wires that I use. So they are maybe enamel wires, and they've got different gauge and thickness, also the softness and hardness. So there's a lots of different wires that I can use, but it's just playing with it
Yeah.
to get the right sort of product to go with the right beads. Yeah.
I don't know, when you're doing sort of the several layers of beads and design, I don't know quite how you would know where to go in a bead and then back out again. Do you do your own designs?
I do, and I've got a box, like a box full of UFOs. So they are unfinished objects. So where I've done some where I can't tackle this anymore. So I put it into the box, and then it will have a label. And then now and again, I will look into that. I'll say, okay, I've got the patience today, so I will bring that one out and have another go with it. So yeah,
Wow.
so eventually they do get finished, but just when I
You
feel
have to
more,
use a magnifying glass to be able to.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
For certain ones, I have to have the right lightings because it's really hard to see these tiny little beads. So I mean, I enjoy working with big beads as well, but I like the intricate of how small beads can build into something. Um, yeah, that's finished the whole piece. It's just, it looks so intricate and different when it's done, and I feel satisfied after I finish with it.
And how do you finish it off? Is there a knot, or do you do like a crimp bead,
I
or does it
I do.
depend on?
There's different techniques that I do. I do the like a surgeon's knots on some of them, and I just have to weave in several times in different areas, and then I just cut it off, and then sometimes use a bit of nail polish, clear, to
Oh,
tiny bit, or sometimes I use a bit of glue. So there are special glues that I use. So yeah, just
wow,
yeah.
wow. It's so detailed, it's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so my second question to you, what are your favorite tools and materials?
Oh, tools when you do leather work is a never ending mission. So you can never get enough tools. So
Yeah.
just see here, these are all full of tiny little hole punches. So got different sizes, and they just punch holes. There's
Oh,
different
wow.
sizes, and that's all they do. But one of those is like £20, so it's ridiculous for what they do for the job. And then you've got sort of long, oblong ones for belts, so that you put
Mm.
the prong in for your belt. Just long ones for that, and yeah, so loads of different crazy tools. I've started actually collecting vintage ones. So I really like old-fashioned tools, and these are
Oh,
some of
wow. What
the
is that
tools
one?
that I use. So that will just simply put. I'll see if I can zoom in.
They
That
look
will
like
just
little.
put, yeah, like decorative lines around the
Yeah.
edge of your leather.
Yeah.
So you might see sort of on just inside the edge of your leather will just be a really fine line, and that's what that tool does.
Oh, wow. So it's just
um,
like an imprint, sort of, like
yeah,
a.
so trying to think of an alternative. I suppose it's like if you're drawing a print or a picture, you'd do a frame, so it sort of frames the object.
Like a decorative sort of.
Yeah, so mainly on wallets where it's kind of, it's not doing a job as say, it's just more decorative.
Hmm.
This one here is an edge beveler,
Oh, what does that do?
tiny little edge, and when you've got a flat piece of leather,
Yeah.
got one here, it's got quite a harsh edge, and all
Hmm.
you do with this one is run it down the side of the side of the leather, and it just takes like 1 mil off the side of your leather, so it doesn't rub, and it's smoother, and then you can
Oh,
burnish it after with one of these things, which is you rub it up and down, and it
yeah.
makes your leather seal, so
Hmm.
it means it's more water resistant, looks better, and it'll match the colouring, and that's just hard graft going up and down constantly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's loads of tools, you can never have enough. One of the classic ones for leatherwork is the round knife.
Oh,
So yeah, it's not for chopping vegetables. So that's used for cutting with big parts of thicknesses of leather. You can also use it for marking out patterns as well. And then sort of like just cutting across big thick bits of leather. You just rock it,
oh,
and it gives you a straight line if you holding it correctly. But
very sharp
yeah,
then.
so you can never have enough tools, and I think one of the talking points of leatherworkers is just tools. What tools can we get next, and um, how to sharpen them as well. So it's not just a case of using them all the time, we have to sharpen them a lot, with different methods, and stropping them to keep the blade sharp. So yeah, so I've got really sharp kitchen knives because everything gets
Yeah.
sharpened.
I need to bring my kitchen knives still with us.
Yeah, so and then I work with vegetable tanned leather as well, which is tanned using sort of like barks or seeds rather than chemicals. So a lot of high street leathers that you see in the
Yeah.
big chains, their leather's all tanned with chrome, or there are a few other different chemicals, which is just a really nasty chemical, to be honest. So the leather will sit in that and tan, but I
Right.
use vegetable tanned leather, which takes much longer. So this is an oak tanned leather. It smells absolutely
I want to
divine,
see.
but that takes 14 months for the
Mm.
hide to be tanned,
Oh.
whereas chrome can take a matter of weeks. So
Mm.
obviously the mass produced companies like the chrome tanned leather because it's quicker and therefore cheaper for them to buy. Um, but yeah, so that's veg tan leather versus chrome, which is kind of what you find on the high streets.
It's more like natural and
Yeah, and
yeah.
obviously as well, because
Mm.
I'm working with it all day and touching it, I feel more at one working with vegetable tanned leather
Mhm.
because you don't know what's going on in your bloodstream.
Right.
So I don't want to be absorbing the leather that I'm working with or any chemicals. But I know with veg tan leather, um, it's just a bit of an acorn or a bit of bark,
Mhm.
and that's natural. So
Yeah.
yeah, kind of makes me feel much happier
Yeah.
working with a natural product. So
Mhm.
yeah, and it gives different sort of qualities as well. So it's much hard wearing, smells like real leather rather than chemicals as well.
Mm.
So,
Mhm. So it's just
yeah,
all good, all feel good factor
yeah.
within the product.
It obviously costs more.
Yeah.
I'll show you a little demo later on with a leather belt.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so that's why it costs more because it takes 14 months to tan, rather than a couple. I mean, some leather gets tanned, it gets put in a big hole in the ground and covered with earth and left there to tan. So,
So did you say 40? How long does it take? Did
so
you say?
veg tan leather, that's an oak one,
Yeah.
and that takes 14 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
So you do like a whole big sheet and
yeah,
then
so
yeah.
my leather comes in. Hold on, I've got one here in
I
big
don't know.
rolls.
Wow.
So this is a bridal tanned leather. So it's slightly waxy, and it's what they make saddle tops out of,
Okay.
um, or posh shoes.
Mm.
And it's got a slightly waxy finish on the top. But yeah, so we're biting big rolls, and then everything gets cut down to size. So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
good.
unfortunately, you can't buy small little things like beads. Everything's
No, so you have to have massive storage
big.
space for
Yeah.
that.
Yes, let's not talk about that, shall we?
Oh, so
So let's talk about what are your best sellers? I know you're quite new with the online sales, but you've obviously had a good summer as well. So
um,
what do
I
people
think
go for?
during the lockdown, because they had the rainbow sort of theme going on with the NHS, so I made some rainbow earrings, which they're crystals, and they it was very popular, and then also there was I've created a floral range as well, so there's lots of daisies earrings, and they're one of the very bestsellers, and people really like those, and they've gone as far as going to America and to Germany and places like that. And yeah, so I'm quite happy that it's able to reach out to different countries.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So how long do the rainbow ones take to make them?
The rainbow ones, they are quite simple. So they are. I've got two versions of rainbows on my Etsy. So one requires weaving, so that may take an hour, and then the other one will take a shorter because it's a basic sort of stringing. So there's different. It all depends on the style and what techniques I've used on there. So for
How,
more of the
so when you say the
sorry.
weaving, do you mean you sort of go colour to colour as well as round the rainbow?
This one that I've done is got like it's like a ring, so it has got the rainbow color, and then I have beads that are woven in inside. Sort of, it's really hard to explain. I should have brought one out with me. So that one's the hoop earrings, and it's sort of a dangle drop earrings, and then the other one is just one long sort of hanging crystals.
Wow.
So yeah.
No, your shop looks amazing. There's so many different types on there, but I'm sure you've got some in that secret box with different designs
Yeah.
that aren't out there yet, Yuet.
Yeah.
Do you find that you change? I know you've done the rainbows because of what's been going on, but do you find
Mhm.
you change your colours to suit the seasons, or I know I will work with darker leathers if I'm like, oh, it's all dark outside, and
Yeah,
then summer it's like, whoa, let's do all the bright colours. Do you do that with your jewellery or?
I do because I don't know because recently people has been mentioning that they're making Christmas stock already and loading them on site, and I've
Wow.
not put any on yet. So I thought it's because we're in July, but I'm thinking of putting some Christmas stock on. And but at the moment, I have only mainly the summer sort of products, which is very light in color and pastel shades and that. So I am working towards more of the autumn colors and the winter colors. So I'll be loading those on slowly. And yeah, I'm already planning.
I just find it really hard to get into the autumnal colour phase now.
Yeah,
I should do it a year in advance, really, whilst it is autumn the year before, and then
but it catches up with you so quickly. It's just,
yeah.
yeah, so.
And then obviously people sort of shop 2, 3 months in advance as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of a lot of forward planning, isn't it? But
Yeah,
I think you have to be in the sort of the headspace ready to move on to that as well, I think. So
especially like this year, it's been sort of, it's not the usual sort of year. So
No.
so everything's just
Say that
I
again.
don't really sometimes what you know, we are now in July, but I don't know where the time's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
made
yeah,
July just evaporated, didn't it? So
yeah, it's all blended in from March. Sort of.
it
Yeah.
absolutely has. Yeah, you're right
Hmm.
there. Oh,
So I'll get on with your next question
okay, yeah.
for you. What items do you make, and what's your best sellers?
Um, so it's all small batch leather goods, so I don't make a lot of each item. And obviously, I'm determined by what size of hide arrives. So, for example, one of my best sellers is the Portela yellow bag. So it looks like the sunshine. Seeing as it is July, so it is quite sunny. So it's a veg tan circular bag.
Yeah.
And it comes with a shoulder strap as well. But obviously it's circular and a hide is not made to fit in specific patterns. So some hides I can get sort of what 5, 6 out of a hide, and then some I can get 7, 8. So it depends on the shape of the cow that is being tanned. Um, so that's a really big seller. I've had a lot of those go to California because I think it's quite the sunshine
Oh, the
state.
sunshine.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but they supersized them, so they were going up to about 18 inches wide, which is kind of a big farewell bag.
Wow.
So I can get like 2 of those out of a hide. So that's one of the best sellers, and then lots of wallets as well. So this is a veg tan bifold wallet.
Is
Uh,
that for men?
yeah.
Is this,
So well, I make a lot of things that are unisex. So
yeah.
I've put them up and I've had comments, and I've had like men and women going, "Oh, I really like that."
Hmm.
So a lot of my marketing as well, my hashtags, I'll do like gift for her and
Yeah.
gift for him, and then hashtag we're not sexist. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I get a lot of people buying all sorts, and also I think that's quite good because I can change the colour of the stitching as well. So oh, let me get this one. So I did this one, but it's got a yellow contrast stitch,
Oh, wow.
and that's got a little purse inside.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, I've had men and women both saying really like that. Can I have it with pink stitching
Yeah.
or green stitching? So one product can
Mhm.
do both. But yeah, so my best sellers are the
So
bags.
you offer, yeah.
And
So you offer personal sort of yeah. So they can put in requests on how you want to make them and
yeah,
like
so
that sort of
for
thing.
example, I started out with a yellow Portela bag, and then someone said, "Oh, can you make that in pink?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I can make it in
Oh,
pink." And then obviously I've got a lot
yeah.
of pink hide left, so then I'll put a couple of pink ones up for sale. And I've had a lady who wanted a purple journal cover, but it was a specific
Mhm.
chocolate brand purple. And
Mhm.
so we sent that off to the tannery, and they dyed it that colour for her. So we can get all sorts of colours put on hides
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
make that person happy at the end of the day. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I've done dog collars, leads, key rings, belts is a big seller at the minute. So the guys' belts and the ladies' belts. But yeah, so anything really, and I get a lot of requests from people saying, "Oh, I've got a really old watch of my granddad's, but the strap's gone. So could you fix the strap?"
Yeah.
Or I've got a named brand bag, but the colour's gone on it, and could we do a few repairs and stuff? So I get all sorts, Yuet. You wouldn't. You'd be
Nothing
surprised.
strange then.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So you obviously work with really good quality products. So how do you tell as a beginner like myself, what's a good quality bead? Like, is it plastic or is it a real gem? How would you sort of?
Um, yeah. So what I normally when people ask me that, how can you tell between plastic to a stone? So when the stone will be cold when by touching, so the plastic will not, you can't feel any coldness in it. And but sometimes other people, what they can do tests with, that you, I think with but you don't want to burn it though. Yeah, with, is it like with a pin and have a, you know, on a candle. So if plastic will
Okay.
melt, but on the stone it will not. So that sort of test. But then, you know, it's it just depends how you want to test that. And then I work with a lot of pearls as well, like freshwater pearls. And for real pearls, you have to put it between your teeth, and it has like a little gritty sort of bite to it, and that's how you can tell it's sort of real. So if it's imitation pearls like glass and that, it'll be all smooth. So, so I tend to let people know about that when they ask me.
Next time I go to an
Yeah,
antique shop, can you come with me then, please? You can
you'll be
test all the
fighting all the
jewellery.
pearls. Yeah, so it's quite a simple technique, but yeah. So yeah, just to put it between the teeth, and there's a slight gritty sort of bite to it.
And have you ever
Yeah.
been stumped by a jewel? Someone's bought it to you, or you found it, and you've still not quite worked out if it's real or not.
Um, yeah, sometimes for like stones, because you can get just normal stones and you can get special stones. So sometimes I do get confused sometimes until I do a bit more research on them. So yeah, people have asked me about those before, but because at the beginning I didn't know much when I first started, but now I have more knowledge of it. So I can tell by looking or even feeling a certain sort of
Okay.
a product. Yeah.
And did you have a particular favourite stone
um,
or gem?
I actually really like amethyst. I like purple. It's my favorite color, and it's my birthstone. So although I haven't got any on Etsy at the moment, but I will be putting some on soon. Yeah. So
I love
yeah,
crystal healing as well, so I've got lots of crystals around the office. So I've got some up there. Yeah, amethyst, beautiful. Oh,
yeah.
lapis.
Okay.
We've gone into
Oh,
crystals now, I
lapis. It's got
think.
the little gold speckles inside that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a really nice feel. Yeah.
it is.
Hmm.
I like them in the office
Um,
while I'm working. But
let me move on to the next question.
yeah, sure.
um, so I've nearly lost it then. Have you got any top tips when buying leather goods?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's people get really confused about what is leather, what's not. Um,
Hmm.
Even now, they've got some of them that where it actually smells like leather.
Hmm.
Um, what a lot of the mass producing companies do is they're really sneaky. Is they'll take a really thick bit of leather like this. So that's about 4 or 5 mil, and they'll get a skiver and they'll take off about 0.8 mil. So tiny, tiny little layer, and then they'll put that on top of um, leather dust. So all of the tiny flecks and dust that's come out of a machine, which will get bonded together with a glue, and then they'll get another tiny bit of the leather and pop it on the other side and make a sandwich, and then it can be sold as a leather belt because it's got leather in it.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, so they're really, really sneaky. Um, or they'll say made with 100% leather. Well, it is, but it's also kind of got um, glue and leather dust in the middle. Or they sometimes even use fabric. So I had a friend give me a leather belt, so I'm sorry if she finds this and watches. And thought I could work with the belt. And actually, when you come to look at it, it's 2 layers of the leather, like I was saying. Let's see if I can show you on the camera. So there's the top layer. Ooh, there's the top layer,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the middle layer.
Okay, what's the middle?
That is leather dust that's being glued together. Can you
Oh,
see that?
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
leather that's being glued together with like dust.
Yeah.
That's real leather, and the bottom one is real leather, but the
Right.
middle is just leather cack, really. Um,
Yeah.
but that's sold and stamped as genuine leather belt um, from a high street shop. Um, and that won't last because you've got about 2 millimeters of leather holding it all together. The dust will just evaporate, and you can see it sort of all the
Oh,
fabric starts to come out.
okay.
So yeah, essentially that's not leather, and obviously it will smell of leather because inside it's got leather parts in, but it's not 100% leather. So this one here, that's all leather. There's nothing else
So it will not
in
even
there.
come apart then because you don't have the sandwich in between. So it's like a whole
Yeah, and
piece.
obviously if you think about it, you're putting holes in there and a lot of tension and stress because it's a belt.
Mhm.
Um, and you're weakening it. As soon as you put a hole in any product, you're weakening it. But if you're
Yeah.
putting it in something that's made of mush, it's just gonna um, last you a few months, maybe a year, and then you
Yeah.
buy another belt. Um, but yeah, they're really sneaky at the way they say that it's leather and not. And then the other trick is they'll stamp a pattern on the top to
Yeah.
make it look like it's got a leather grain or even a mock croc
Yeah.
pattern on it. So people go, oh, that's really nice. I like the pattern and the bubble or the mock croc look. And it's actually just plastic that's been stamped to look like leather. So
I'll be
watch out.
popping my belts
Yeah,
out. Have an inspection now.
I've actually got a blog post on my website which
Yeah.
explains some of these things to look out for. And yeah, so which is why obviously their products cost about a fifth of what mine are because
Mhm.
they use leather dust and I use all leather.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get a lot of people when I'm doing Etsy fairs asking um, why is that their belt like 20 quid and mine's more than 20 quid. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't know all this.
no, they're sneaky.
This
You
is new.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's amazing.
and then obviously they'll use chrome tanned leather as well, which takes
Yeah.
a few weeks to tan and yeah, hey ho, they've got a belt for 25 quid in a supermarket. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
but they
pay for
shouldn't really be
everything.
charging £25 for it, really. It should be
Yeah.
like 8.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
shop local, folks.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, well, I've learned so much from you. It's absolutely
and you,
fascinating.
and you too. Been nice chatting to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a good fair on the 1st and 2nd.
And you too.
And I know
So
where I'm coming
you,
for my Christmas presents now.
sorry.
I know where I'm going to come for my Christmas
Yeah.
presents now.
Yeah.
Especially as you're getting your stocking ready. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
fabulous. Well, nice to talk to you, Yuet.
And you too.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.